He just wizarded.
He just wizarded all over.
Look at this guy's sweet invisible car.
So this is all practical effects here. There's some really fun magic tricks going on. It's just probably a big dude.
No, but he's a huge man. How big of a dude? Did they get the world's biggest dude?
Big thanks to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video. Stick around to the end to see how you can get a free 30-day trial.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Visual Effects.
Skip.
Artist React.
Today we're gonna be looking at some awesome...
Skip.
All right, here we go. Let's do it.
Let's jump into it.
Okay, there's this clip that's been around for like a year now. And I've seen it a few times, but it just came back up on our subreddit, and I was like, hey, it's about time we finally talk about it, because it's really fun to watch. Look at this guy's sweet invisible car.
Oh, he's got a mirror there. Can't possibly be fake.
I love how he's got the comments antagonizing him, saying,
It's the same every time.
It's like, do it with the TV on. Check it out. Dude, the TV's playing not in reverse. So how could he be moving in reverse?
It's almost like you can't reverse TV footage.
It's like, it's the socks. Do donuts.
Donuts.
Okay, he's got to do some donuts.
It's pretty clear, right? It's reversed footage. He's sliding in and just doing the miming and choreography like flawlessly. But if you're to play this backwards, because it's already backwards, that's what would actually be filmed. Also, it helps that he doesn't have any hair to betray the fact that the footage is backwards.
Based on the name of the TikTok account, he does yoga and he has really good balance. So he can, you know, when you sit down, you kind of fall into the last part. He's good enough at yoga where he can like curl up and act like he's sitting down and like keep his balance without falling down.
Yeah, it's like he's just a really good physical like performer when it comes to like understanding how to change your body's movement.
Is honestly the most impressive part of all of this.
He's probably just actually pushing off something with his
That's how I thought he was doing it, but like, he's got some slippery floors, dude.
Yeah. He just done a great job. It's really funny. I mean, obviously he's just having fun with it. Like, I'm sure some people are like, how did he do this? And
clearly a lot
now
of people.
You know, but I'm sure most people are just like, haha, this is fun. It's reverse footage.
Without it, what am I to be?
Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power.
Rings of Power.
I haven't started watching the show yet, but I'm very excited to do so. Sam, you've started watching it though, right?
Yeah, I've only gotten 2 episodes in, but it is just great. Also, what is it, like ILM and Weta and like DNEG and like basically every VFX house in the world contributed to this, which is insane.
Probably because they had that many shots.
Yeah, there's like 10,000 VFX shots in this.
What?
1,500 VFX artists. It was like 20 VFX studios. This is like the biggest thing ever made.
Dude, I mean, friggin' Endgame had like 3,000 VFX shots, and that's a 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah, so this is bigger than that. I just wanted to look at the environment shots. There's just so many gorgeous environments in this piece. It's worth it. Let's just like, just take a glimpse at this. Just like bask in the glory. Look at that.
Erigion.
Realm of the Elven Smiths.
Dude, the realm of the Elven Smiths. I want to go to the realm of the Elven Smiths. I don't even know how to like talk about that stuff because it's so like flawless. You just look at it and you're like, yeah, you did it. So the one thing I don't know about yet in this show, because there's not really much released when it comes to like the VFX breakdowns yet.
Yeah.
But like obviously in the first Lord of the Rings trilogy, they're using bigatures a ton.
Yeah.
Whereas in this series, I think they may have forgotten those.
I mean, that foreground stuff there looks real. All those plants, that rock stuff there, that looks real. But then, of course, you get to the CGI water beyond that.
Yeah.
Mostly just for logistical reasons. It's like, you can't really just have a waterfall on your set, but it looks pretty good.
Like even these people in the distance look incredibly convincing. And you look at that and like, it kind of looks like a set and not like just CG background extras. Anyways, yeah, so it's gorgeous. It's like an incredibly gorgeous show, like every landscape. All right, what is like one of the most iconic effects from Lord of the Rings?
I'd say like the forced perspective moving camera shots.
Exactly.
The forced perspective stuff was some of the most magical effects in the original Lord of the Rings.
Because it was like in camera, but they were effect shots, and they sold the idea that Gandalf is like 3 times larger than Frodo.
Exactly. So there's tiny people in this series as well, and there's also big people.
Whoa.
That's cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so really cool stuff. But he's He's normal size.
Are you sure he's not a wizard?
I'm pretty sure he's a wizard. Look at him. He just wizarded.
He is wizarded all over.
So there's like 2 excellent shots.
Whoa.
That being one of them.
Wait,
That looked like just a basic forced perspective
but
shot.
they're on the same plane.
But were they?
distance.
I don't know if they really were.
Oh yeah, you can see their feet and the contact.
Because when you're doing forced perspective, you have to hide the fact that they're at different distances from the camera. And when it's very clear that they're on the same plane, it introduces complications.
We did a forced perspective. We've done a lot of forced perspective shots. We have a really silly one in our like old video, Powered Up.
Yeah, powered up,
Where
that's right.
Master Chief eats a Mario mushroom, and so he gets all huge, and so we just put the camera low on the ground and had our Mario, played by Benji, go way in the distance, and had Jake as Master Chief way in the foreground.
Yeah.
And we just had them kind of sync up their moves.
But in that situation, you had the camera close to the ground specifically to hide the distance between them so that the ground pretty much looked flat
Yep.
in relation to the camera. So, if they filmed this shot for real, he would have to be on some sort of like elevated platform closer to camera, and they're using his cloak to kind of hide the edges of it. So like you can kind of see on the left side of his cloak how it goes down, and right behind it is the ground.
Yeah.
That would be how they would do it in Lord of the Rings. It's probably how they did that here, right? If this is all in camera.
There's also a possibility they just filmed them and cut her out and shrank her down.
Yeah. Or enlarged him. I think it'd be easier to make him bigger.
You're probably right,
than
because
make her
actually,
smaller.
Sam brings up an interesting point. Contact shadows on the ground. So shadows don't just make things darker. There's a reflection of the sky on those leaves and twigs on the bottom left. See how they're bright? They're reflecting the sky. And you'll notice you don't have those spikes of highlights below her. So when they get cast in shadow, they don't get darker. The reflection itself needs to disappear. Whereas we look at the ground around him, there's a little more of a sense of those reflections being on the leaves, especially in that little like nook underneath his fabric. I get the impression that he was scaled up, or at least his contact with the ground was done by hand with VFX, whereas she's completely natural.
I don't know. I'm not seeing what you're seeing. If I was doing the shot and I was enlarging him, I would also enlarge the ground around him too. He has a very nice silhouette with the cloak there, so that you can easily cut that out, but anything below that, the ground there, probably got scaled up with his cloak, because why wouldn't you? You've got the built-in contact shadows already.
That's a great way to actually preserve the contact shadows. But here's a little thing about doing an effect like this that catches a lot of people by surprise and they do it for the first time. Generally, when you film something, you have a little bit of noise and grain in your shot. So when you cut something out, like this guy, and you scale him up, you also scale up all the noise and grain. Meaning, you can really tell if you zoom in on the elements, which one's been scaled up or down, because you got this fine detail that's now something bigger on one side of the shot.
But how do you fix that, Niko?
Well, there's a couple ways to fix it. One is you really have to go out of your way to shoot without noise on set, which means a lot of light, taking the ISO on your camera and dropping it really low. You can also denoise it. And then the second step is to go in and put a uniform version of noise on the entire shot, or at least on your comp subjects, and have that noise match everything else.
It's a subtle thing that a lot of people miss, and
Yep.
it's one of those things that informs like the subconscious part of your brain that something's off, but you're not realizing that you're just seeing these little specks of different sizes showing up.
So there's another great shot with actual like 3D camera moves that's towards the end of this sequence.
Oh. They almost look the same size, but they're not.
They're not, no.
Wait a minute.
They're not the same
Was
size.
she not there the whole time?
How could she be not there? But look at how her hair goes against the sky, and you can see like the halation on her.
Yeah.
Well, the sky's not real there.
He's comped. He's comped.
He's comped?
He's comped.
Are you kidding me?
100%
He's dragging his
comped.
like sloppy blanket around. like,
Floppy blanket.
like,
But like, look at the contact of his foot.
look at his foot, and you can see like the twigs perfectly dragging.
We don't see her feet though.
We don't see her feet. She could be comped.
I have a feeling she's comped, and it's a motion control thing. If I was doing this shot, I would have her be comped into it with a slightly enlarged camera move. You know, it's like you do the camera move initially with him, and then you take that, you enlarge everything, do the same camera motion on her on a different set, and probably just entirely remove her and put her into that. The reason why I'm saying that is because we never once see her feet, specifically her feet, interacting with the ground there.
It could be a motion control thing with her being comped. You're right. But you look at it, and you're like, God darn it, you tricked me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost impossible to see the difference.
Stumped.
Take a look at that little out of focus splotch of sky where it's white in the center, then as it gets towards the edges of the blur, where like the trees are in front, it turns blue. Because when something goes out of focus and there's another thing in front of it that's out of focus, it's kind of, it's like having sunglasses on that little edge there. It brings the exposure down. So when the camera sees the sky, it's basically white because the sky is so hot. And then as those blurry things in the foreground cover it up, it doesn't bring the white down to gray, it brings exposure down, and of course the sky is blue, so you see blue. And that's why you get that white to blue roll off. So looking at the other shots where the characters are standing up, and the sky is behind their hair, what you need to look for is this intense blue that appears. And I see it on her hair.
There we
right
go. We're
there.
starting to get it.
Yeah, starting to get that blue
Yeah,
edge
it's like the
appearing.
blue edging.
And that's something that you can get in compositing when you really work carefully with your edges and your light, but for the most part, I don't see compositing do that correctly. So if she is composited in, they did an amazing job.
They could have shot that sequence on the volume as well.
True, the volume would give you that effect.
Still doesn't solve why he's big.
No, you're right.
We forgot. We gotta remember what our boy Peter did back in the day. Not Peter, our Peter, but Peter, the world's Peter.
Peter the Jackson.
Peter the Jackson had actors that were different sizes when he didn't show their face. We can't see the wizard's face in this shot.
That
it's
is a
just
good
probably a
point.
big dude.
No, but he's a huge man. How big of a dude? Did they get the world's biggest dude? Because the size from his knee to his ankle is straight up like bigger than her torso.
That hand!
Yeah, look at that tiny hand.
That was a child's hand.
It's just a child's hand. Ren, it's an innocent child's hand. See, look at that. I'm getting the vibe that each shot they're using a slightly different technique, so that way it keeps fooling you, you know? Like there.
Yeah, he's hiding. They're hiding the face there because they interacted.
Do we see him touching the ground? Yeah.
Yes.
But he's touching the ground.
Ooh, this
bro.
might be a practical effect we're looking at right here.
I think you're right. This might be a big dude here, and on a shot-by-shot basis, they're replacing his head or face.
Yeah.
The people who worked on this show are going to be like, what? That's the only thing you looked at from our whole show? Is whether or not this dude is real or not? I think it's safe to say we will be looking at Rings of Power again once we actually finish watching the show.
So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. This is gonna be awesome. In fact, you know what? Hopefully we can get someone who worked on the show.
It's a cruel, cruel world.
This show, called Once Upon a Time, originally released in 2011 by ABC. It went for 7 seasons or whatever. This has less to do with the quality of effects and more of the quality of the editing. Let's watch.
Whoa! This editing doesn't feel like a Band-Aid at all. Ambitious though, doing this green screen fight
Yeah.
for a TV show. But they just gave up completely on the choreography.
I mean, that was a pretty sick wire stunt there, though.
That was
Wire pull.
cool.
Got
That's
pulled
cool.
up and over, landed.
Psych.
I'm sleeping. Just kidding.
No shadows.
Yeah.
Oh my God, wait.
Just on pure green. This is so much
He
work.
falls over on a green crash pad.
Yep.
It's like that bouncy ground.
It's important to note that this came out 11 years ago, and it's a TV show budget, so I'm not really harshly critiquing the quality of the effects here. There's only so much you can do, and they were ambitious about it. But what kills me is the editing. The rate of editing makes it so that there's so many VFX shots. So I think what ended up happening is that they had all these different VFX shots that were longer, and they had it edited in, and someone decided it wasn't working, and to go back and re-edit it all. If we're to actually talk about the effects here, what are we looking at? So we're looking at a green screen stage with 2 actors fighting on it. And that requires not only replacing the background, but replacing the ground as well. And so everything we're seeing has to be recreated to match the lighting on them. And I'd say that overall, it's not too bad.
Yeah, the lighting's not too bad, but the big issue I'm noticing is that when you get motion blur on a green screen, the motion blur, you're seeing the green screen behind it, so oftentimes it gets keyed out, and you end up with something moving that get really skinny. And when that guy gets, when that guy gets lifted over, you'll notice all his limbs get really skinny. And it's easily fixed just by shooting on a higher shutter speed when you're under green screen.
Yeah, so you can guess the shutter speed you want to film at. You know, you can go all right, high, what's high? 1/240, 1/500, 1/1000. The easiest way to do it is just do a test. It's if you're unsure, just film it quick, hit playback. I mean, if you're on a union set, hire a guy to play the video back for you, But either way, that's the simple process.
You can really especially see the motion blur issue when that guy is swinging his weird spear around, where the motion blur eats in so far to the stick that when you pull the key, the stick just completely disappears.
With motion blur and a dark stick moving fast, to be fair, it does also just disappear on regular footage too.
Yeah, but it leaves a smear. It doesn't just completely disappear.
It does depend on how exposed it is,
Yeah.
though. If it's decent exposure, it should still leave a smear. If it's dark exposure, like it kind of looks here, it's not going to expose as well.
TV.
TV shows.
These days, TV's all like high budget. We can't dunk on sick effects in TVs.
Yeah, I mean, we're
shows
just
anymore.
watching the best show in the world compared to this.
Yeah, we're just watching a TV show that had $500 million
Yeah.
for a budget versus this show that probably had like, I don't know.
That.
Yeah.
The Blob.
Let's take it back to 1988. Let's blob it up, guys. This has been a great recommendation. Hey, if you got more recommendations, please leave a comment down below. We'd love to read them. Gives us ideas.
I wasn't alive back then.
Oh! Look out, buddy. Uh-oh. Screaming. What's going on?
Whoa.
Oh no, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be bad. This is gonna be bad.
He's gonna pull his arm off.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
All right.
Wow.
I love this stuff. It's so fun.
This came out in 1988. This was before computers were invented.
Yeah, so this is all practical effects here. There's some really fun magic tricks going on. So you got a blob, right? How do you direct a blob? How do you activate a blob to give you some acting?
How do you have it move?
So here's what they came up with. Here's how they were able to make the blob do things, right? Like you see it going up the wall, you see it falling from the ceiling, you see it dragging over his face. They basically made a quilt out of silk. They sewed this silk blanket together, making little pockets, like little raviolis in it, this quilt, and they filled it with food gel. And then like, the food gel would like seep out of the threads of silk, and so you'd end up with this big, like a gooey blanket that had blobs coming out of it. And each blanket would weigh like 200 pounds.
Oh my God.
Because it's all just like water gel.
Wow.
And they'd use that, they'd use like sticks, they'd put on mittens that were blob mittens so they could like move it and you couldn't see people's hands. So the scenes where he's like getting digested, they actually have like this big fiberglass thing that he's sitting in, and they're pulling like a blob blanket over his face, like goes, "Gah!" And they actually have like another one that they're like pulling in an opposite direction, and one's blue and one's red, so as they interact, they make different purple streaks that kind of come and go and like bring things to life.
That's really clever.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's like at first I didn't even think of that. I was like, wow, this is just some like, what is like Jello or Gack or whatever that remember?
Gack.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Silly putty, all like that world of like goopy toys. But yeah, you can't control that. Like how do you make it move? And the silk sheet, that's kind of like the key, because now it's like solid. And if you pull on it, everything comes with it. It doesn't just like rip off and fall apart.
And this is just a puppet. The guy is a miniature.
The guy is a miniature.
That's a miniature?
So what else would have to be a miniature if he was a miniature?
Her?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Wait.
Wait, so it's
Dude,
a doll?
everything would have to be miniature.
Dolls, man. That's 100% dolls in this shot.
Wait, what?
Yep, that entire scene, that entire shot is all miniature. Which would explain why the globe is gigantic in the background.
They make
Dude,
big
they make
globes.
big globes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm kind of seeing it now more and more. Like her motion is a little, I don't know if stiff is the right word for it, but like there's not much dynamic movement to her other than like she kind of leans down a little bit. Also the scale of her hair strands are larger here.
Yeah, it's really well done. I mean, like the practical effects.
I couldn't have told you
I
that
know.
it was miniature.
Like that's some amazing puppetry. So they only did this shot miniature because they wanted that effect of the mouth and like him getting pulled into it, right? Okay. So they couldn't do that with the real actor. Obviously his mouth isn't open that big. But I love this. If you look closely at the wrist, you can see the actual arm coming up from the floor because they're using a real hand. You can see where the floor comes up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So it's just somebody's arm coming up through the floor, and you can see the wrist turn and go down into the floor. Okay. And then they've just attached a prosthetic to it with makeup.
That's crazy. Building a whole
really
floor
well done.
for that shot.
Yeah.
Like every shot in this sequence is like its own unique challenge.
The thing about these films is that all the practical effects required so much planning. It's like every time you get one, it's just like it hits so hard. Like the whole scene's been built for that one shot, that one insert, that one thing that happens. Like they're never unimportant or like unplanned or just casual. Hey, Son of a Dungeon is just popping off over on quarterdigital.com. Heck, we even got the whole season 2 of Crew Cuts that just finalized. Yeah, look, quarterdigital.com. It's our website. It gives us independence from the YouTube ecosystem so we can make stuff just for you without worrying about algorithms, and it helps us make cool things. Plus, there's no ads. It's $3.99 a month, which is pretty inexpensive, all things considered. If you want it, you know where to find it. quarterdigital.com. Check it out.
Hey everyone, it's me, Nick. But today you can call me Epidemic because I'm here to talk to you about today's sponsor, Epidemic Sound. What is Epidemic Sound? Well, it's a one-stop shop for creators to find music and sound effects and anything audio related that you need to pull off your creative vision. So it's really cool that Epidemic wanted to sponsor this video because we actually have been using Epidemic here at Corridor for years. It's our main source of audio. And if searching all of Epidemic's vast sound library is a little bit overwhelming, well, they have this new feature where they actually serve you a playlist of personalized recommendations that are tailor-made for your YouTube channel based on your past download history. You can search different genres, different styles of music, and then they have some really cool search functions which let you kind of narrow down every little aspect of what you're looking for to help you find exactly what you need. As someone who uses Epidemic, I know sometimes I'll find a track I really like, and I'll be like, I want more tracks like this, but I don't know the keywords to search. I don't know exactly like what genre is it. Epidemic has a great solution to that. They actually have a find similar button that uses all the different filters that they've used on the back end to give you a bunch of similar tracks that match the vibe of a track that you like. For us, you know, a lot of times we do need multiple pieces of music in one kind of genre, and that button makes things very easy for us. So if you want to elevate your post-production experience and you're interested in Epidemic Sound, click the link down below in the description. Get a free trial of Epidemic. It lasts 30 days and they even got you covered for anything you create in that time period. Honestly, we use it every single day here at Corridor. But thanks again to Epidemic for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to VFX Artist React.
I mean, hey, that was a fun one. I think more than anything, filming this episode convinced me that I really got to start watching Rings of Power. I'm very excited for it already, but now I gotta watch it.
Yeah, it's chill. It's a chill show. Is it a little slow? Yeah. It's plot heavy and a little confusing? Yeah. Who cares? Get over it. It's sweet.
Anyways, this was super enjoyable. Thank you so much for watching.